Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ecofeminism. Tonight we are having a female expert from EU affairs. She's consultant at the European Commission in business and in marketing, and she's here to speak about women entrepreneurship and hardships in the EU bubble. Diane Luque, welcome to Ecofeminism.
Thank you.
So, who is Diane Luque? Can you introduce yourself to our TV viewers and to the audience? What are your diploma, qualifications, experience, and how did you join the European Commission as an expert?
Yes, so I am a consultant. I am a senior consultant in EU affairs, in communication strategy, business development. So meaning that the main of the time I help to set up a EU project, EU funded project. So I used to work myself inside the European Commission in the past. So and after that, when I left, so I started my own business and my own cabinet for this EU affairs. My background is a master in communication, journalism and information, and so I also specialized in planning and management with the Boston University. So that's why I work for a long time with the EU, in the EU sphere, and in different sectors, to help different sectors, and so via my background and the experience to work in that sphere, so I became a consultant.
Okay, great. So I see that you are doing a lot of things, communication, business and marketing, so you are, let's say, a specialist in the field of marketing and business, and you notice this, as we discussed earlier, inequality in terms, or gender inequality in terms of business in the EU bubble. Can you speak about this inequality? How do you find that women are discriminated against in comparison with men in terms of, let's say, doing business, in terms of funding, sometimes in terms of opportunities, in terms of jobs? So how did you notice this gender inequality in business?
Yes, I noted it. In spite of the fact that, for example, in my case and in the case of a lot of women entrepreneurs, we can face any sector. Like I work for aerospace industry or space and defense and security, so high-level technological issues. We face other obstacles, and there are multiple for women, more especially at the top level, when we arrive at the top level.
Okay, so in key policy positions, you have a lot of hardships. Which kind of hardships?
For example, so
you mean
obstacles?
Yeah, you mean in terms of, for instance, getting hired as a CEO, for instance, in an institution, or in terms of being underpaid, or these kind of problems.
Obstacles in general. Yes, obstacles are multiple for women, more especially at the top level. Because, as you can see, there are few decision makers in the world. I can tell you about Anne-Marie Slaughter, who is an US international lawyer and who, among others, work at the office of the American Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton. She also confirmed it, and she wrote a famous article named "Why Women Still Can't Have It All," and which highlight the fact that only women with a rich family behind them, supporting them, or rich husband, or really in the case of so high-level IQ, at the level of Nobel Prize almost, can remain in a so high-level position.
Okay. So women becoming policy makers, or top policy makers, or CEOs, or whatsoever.
political or corporate level.
Yeah,
Yes.
they should have a very rich background, family background, and high qualifications. Otherwise, if they are self-made, it's very complicated to make it to the top.
Yes, to stay, even you can arrive sometime at the top, but you have to remain.
Okay.
And for different reasons, at the end, there is only few of them who can really stay and remain.
Absolutely.
So the most of the time, women are underrepresented in decision-making process. But also worse sometimes, because there is a sophisticated way of doing in the world and in the market landscape. Like, for example, I explain, I'm launching a hashtag #MeToo as woman entrepreneur campaign.
I was going to ask you this question in terms of hashtag #MeToo campaign in terms of business, because we witnessed nowadays the hashtag #MeToo in Hollywood, in the media, in whatsoever, but we didn't witness this movement in business, and this is a kind of a new, movement which is launched here in Europe. So this is I think that it's a new initiative that is launched in Europe, and I think that you should be proud of this initiative. But can you tell me, how did you get the idea to launch the #MeToo? Hashtag #MeToo business.
This #MeToo hashtag #MeToo as woman entrepreneur comes from the fact that I highlight the current situation of women entrepreneurs, who, especially the one in this specific campaign, I focused the women who provide intellectual services, because most of the time they are subpaid, not paid, or paid with long delay, and when they have to face such so late payment delay, it causes them a lot of problems for their daily life, like with their family, with their couple, etc. They can feel absolutely stressed, down. They can go till the suicide,
depression,
they can kill themselves. So I'm not talking now about what we are talking usually about women entrepreneur, and not the fact that do we have to educate women? Yes, because in this case I'm talking about not this situation, which is the most of the time highlight when we are discussing about if we have to educate or not women, or the fact that they cannot, maybe they are not so bright or clever. Yes, but in this case, yes, they are recognized as bright and clever. But the problem is here that the most of the time they are used, and they are used for their. Quelque chose qui va pas. Bon, il est pas. Donc, ok.
They are used for.
Non. Ce que je veux dire, c'est. The problem is not that they are not used because they could be not clever or bright, but just the opposite. Because they are clever and bright, they are used like slave in a company by the most of the time. It could be the case of men who recognize it and want to use and overuse their qualities to employ them or to contract with them, but not in good conditions. So they are not well paid. They are dominated.
They are misused. Actually,
they are misused. They are they have domination by their top decision makers, and so they are not employed in good conditions.
Good conditions, and you think that this process of misusing women who are highly qualified and intelligent, high IQ women, is it because the top, the key decision makers are men, or is it because we have always this privilege of hiring women who are qualified, and they are also underpaid, because we already know, we have spoken about that problem. Actually, the equal pay is not already reached in Europe, especially in certain countries, not all countries, except the Scandinavian countries as well, in Iceland, because it was lately in Iceland confirmed that women are paid as much as men, but also in the United States, and this is what happened also in so many discussions with Meryl Streep and so many women, female feminists who are defending the equal pay, that women are not really equally paid with men. And at that time, when you are an employer and you want to hire people and you know that you can have a highly qualified women and men, so you prefer to hire women because they are underpaid. So this is what you are explaining in your argument, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, that's the case. I'm not talking about especially. I'm not focusing on especially in the entrepreneurship world. Mm-hmm. I'm not focusing on the fact that it could be only from the men's side that domination comes.
Yeah,
you can have, of course, top decision makers, women, who are women, and could be hopeful, for example, for their workers. Mm-hmm. But the most of the time, when you look at the case of freelance women mm-hmm. working in the entrepreneurship world, they often, of course, are working for companies who are dominated still in the world by men. And first, they could be young, they could be freelance, so you already offer a certain fragility on the market. And the fact that you are a woman, you are a female entrepreneur, so it offers some opportunity to manipulate this situation by men. Sure. I mean that they can take the opportunity to, and they often do it unhappily, to dominate the situation and to offer them, not good condition at all, and to profit of the situation.
Yeah, and most of the time, especially young women who start their career as an entrepreneur, and they need experience, so they are they are misused. You can tell me that this is the case for young people in general, of course.
Young people in general, but in addition, you are facing discrimination, domination by men. Yeah. And so they have a supplementary tool to manipulate the situation. Yeah. And that happens often because you can find a lot of companies, for example, where you have only at the top decision makers level men, and inside their own company a lot of women are working. So I mean that we are not at the point where if you, for example, interview a company who have a lot of women as consultants, they will tell you, but we recognize that they are clever, they are bright, they are intellectual. They are intellectual, and they have a lot of capabilities. And look at my company, I have a lot of women as consultants. But the truth is that they take profit of that situation to make them work more than
long hours
with payment, underpaid, and these women are attracted by just have a contract and have a job, just
experience
also, and so they will accept, and men will take the situation to the opportunity to manipulate them more than with young men and young women. This is not for equality. And unhappily, in most of the case, the domination means also often sexual harassment.
This is the Me Too campaign, which was launched also in Hollywood and in business, which is also showbiz business.
It's
a business.
It's a macho a market, unhappily, and I don't think that it's because we have now 50 years behind us of what we can so-called liberty or more flexibility for women to reach the market or to go to university, that we have so that we are so much equal or include in the market. We cannot really take the decisions because we are not at this at the level that men can still reach now.
Okay.
But they have behind them thousands of years of commerce, of market experience, and they also transmit it to the other generation.
Yeah.
We don't have that yet. We don't have enough past with women with their mother, for example, transmitting their experience, and the grandmother and the great grandmother, because the most of the time they were in house, so they were housewives. Sure. So we need more time, or we need to be more proactive. And I think time is up about everything.
Yeah, this is what paves the way to my next question, which is how would you fight against this inequality in business? Because as you said, it's really subtle. We don't really see inequality because women are accepting, between quotation marks, this kind of inequality, because most of the time they are obliged to get experience, obliged to work. So even if they are underpaid, they are going to say, okay, I don't care, I need experience, I'm having experience in the EU bubble, I'm working for the Commission, or I'm working for EU institutions. This is very important. But can you compare your salary, or can you compare your commission with men? It's very difficult. I mean, so how can you fight against, I saw that you are launching this Me Too movement in business, but how can you fight against this inequality and injustice in terms of business in
yes,
Europe?
I see some tools, of course, and some instruments that we can set up.
Okay.
Like it was the case, for example, I have a concrete example of weakness on the market, which is about small and medium-sized enterprise, especially we are using this term SME at the EU level. So the small enterprise means, in terms of EU, less than 250 employees and a certain amount of turnover that you cannot go beyond. So when you enter in this framework, you are considered like a small enterprise. And the world of SMEs found that in comparison to industry, so the big group, the bigger industry, they have some weaknesses on the market. So they really launch a campaign and advocate for their own case to obtain some rules more in favor of their specific case, to help them to better penetrate on the market. And it was the case, so for discussion about SMEs at EU level, they advocate about their case. They obtained, was set up a document which was named the Small Business Act, which explained that SMEs need more support.
So it's an act, actually.
It's an act.
Is it adapted? Is it adapted in the European Commission or the European Parliament?
Yeah, well, from this act, from this communication, in sort of communication, they express that sort of action plans need to be set up and developed. And from this act, they start to develop a better regulation for SMEs, better description of what is an SME, so to explain when they are fragile, a company is fragile, more fragile than another, because this turnover, because this sort of employee, and also to launch some better positive instruments to help SMEs to better penetrate on the market. Like, for example, it was the case for financial instruments launched in the frame of the research and innovation program. There is a dedicated financial instrument for SMEs to help them to participate to call of proposals and to find a good place and a specific place to help them in comparison to bigger company who have more facility to be in project. So we have this sort of instrument, and I can say that a lot of entrepreneurs of small companies, they fight to obtain that. They were absolutely conscious that they were weaker on the market, and they accept it, and they want their life was improved by something to help them. Otherwise, there was too much collapse, too much failure on the market, and SMEs had to close their doors, and it was a problem for competitiveness on the market, and for growth and for job. So it's a sustainable problem. In fact, it's a problem of sustainability. And I think that as we created something specific for SMEs that everybody approve, especially the leader, the leader of this small enterprise, who were in majority men, of course, so they were happy to have something to help them. We have to recognize that as women, it's time to have also a specific instrument to help women entrepreneurs, and to dedicate some call to help, for example, that could be an example, to help specifically women entrepreneurs to reach the market. That could be an idea, for example, to leave a specific place to women and to help them to better position. Until we can have enough women leading enterprise, and to prove that it works, and it works well.
Okay. So a female staff, as in.
A female staff, exactly.
Okay. Thank you. So I think that we reached the end of this conversation. At the end of every conversation with my guest, I sometimes ask the question, what is the piece of advice that you can give to young people, or to female entrepreneurs in this case, to be successful and to fight against injustice and inequality in business? How can you help these young people to go into this experience and to fight against justice and to start their own business without being underpaid or without being misused and abused?
Yes, first, always being proactive instead of being reactive. That's my first advice. So the world is difficult, but nothing is impossible. And if our mother were stopped by some obstacles, and they said, for example, like the suffragette in the UK, they said, okay, we will not do anything because it's impossible to do something and to change the rules. So we would never obtain any liberty today, and prove that you are just human as men. So my advice should be, we have to do something. Time is up. We have to be paid equally from the same amount. Our contract has to be respected. We don't have to be dominated all the time, and just we need equality to succeed, and also to prove that more we have women entrepreneurs, more we have enterprises, more we have growth, economic growth, more we can also open and offer jobs and prove it. And I'm also launching the Facebook, my Facebook page, #MeToo as Women Entrepreneurs. So I hope that I will have a lot of followers. I'm setting up a core team of experts to help a woman and to address their their problems, to help us to find some solutions together. And we would like to participate to some project to prove and to help regulations to be better for the market for women.
Okay, I think that you mentioned you hit the right chord, and you mentioned a very important fact is that sensitizing people, sensitization is very important. So please go on the website, on the Facebook page #MeToo as woman entrepreneur, and also the regulations, because I think by sensitizing people we can put pressure and make regulations to to impose justice in terms of equal pay and in terms of contracts, as you said.
Yes, this is something also important to mention, that currently at the EU level there is already a project of directive which is in favor of gender equality. And following the survey already done by the EU, they remarked and they collect information saying that this is still difficult for women to be at corporate level and political level, and to remain at that level. Okay. So they are now requesting some support to complement their draft directive, and to have better analyze. So it means that there was already some work undertaken by the EU, and they highlight this fact already.
Okay, so the EU is already, is already aware of the situation.
Yes,
is already aware. Yeah, this is a good thing. So they are doing something about it, which is very positive.
Yes, at the UN level also. Yeah, but we have still to improve, and not only to discuss. I think the best is not to discuss, but to make some concrete actions. And if we can be helpful for governments or for international organizations to help them, to provide some advices, to discuss with them.
In consultancy.
Yes, in consultancy we can also help. Be available for that.
Okay, great. Diane, I'm really happy to interview here, to have an interview with you today. It was really enriching, and we get a very wide and large idea about the problem in Europe, in the European bubble with women entrepreneurs. So I hope that we can sensitize as much as we can people and women to go into this experience of doing business and starting business, but also to fight for their equality and to fight for their rights, especially. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today, and we give you an appointment next week with another or a new guest. Thank you.